Hello and welcome to do the webinar about affiliate marketing with awesome Craig Campbell. And this time we decided to make it a bit different from other webinars because we are making it like a story, like a storytelling. We'll have an example of poorly made article on affiliate in SaaS and startup niche. And Craig will tell what is wrong with the article and how to help this poor guy who made this article to rank it and to make some money on it and to start making something good in affiliate. So back to Craig. Craig, you are very famous in SEO world and very famous in affiliate world.
I don't know
You
about
are making
famous.
lots of videos. Everyone knows you. I think you may be one of the most popular guys out there, aren't you?
Thank you, thank you. I'll take that. That's always a compliment. But yeah, it's has been an ambition of mine for a number of years to build a personal brand and hopefully help people with videos and speaking at events and all of that kind of stuff. So it's always good to talk through the journey rather than all the wins. I like to share just stories in general, which I think a lot of people can relate to, and it's worked out well for me.
Beside videos, you've got a blog, you're an actor, you're an author, and you are very like one of the best speakers. So you can tell story about anything and you know lots of stuff. But beside that, you're not only talking, but you have vast experience. You have 20 plus years of experience in SEO and you've been flipping websites and you've been doing also some affiliate and you had this background with agencies and you had your rises and falls. So you can really help people to grow and to make something very similar to yourself, but different. And that's what I'm going to ask you about. Today, our webinar is sponsored by SE Ranking, and I'll be using their tool in the process as well. And maybe we can jump right in.
Yeah,
How is
let's
it
go
going?
for it.
Okay. Um, I've been thinking about how to make this one, and we were preparing. I was. Can you show the slides, please, on this?
Wait a
And I've
second.
been researching. I'm like, imagine that I'm this poor guy who's working all the time, full time, and he is dreaming. He knows some SEO or she, and they want to to change their lives. They want to stop working for the company and start to make some money for themselves with their own website. So I was reluctant for some time, but then I decided, why not I watched, for example, one of your videos or other videos out there and decided to make an article for the best website builder just because one of my website is on Duda and I found out that Duda has an affiliate program and I decided to jump straight in. It has a very nice search volume. It has somewhat difficulty, but that means that there is some money. And I'm looking at competitors, and Forbes is number one, which doesn't stop me. That means that they know what they are doing. And I'm going to write an article with AI tool and generate some images from there and put it on the website. And it's almost instantly indexed without any reference to it from any other article. My own website is built on Duda. It has only 3 pages. One of them is this article. Uh, have you had a chance to look at it? You are muted. You are muted. Rake, I'm sorry, but I think you are muted.
Shit, sorry. Yeah, I muted myself. I was coughing earlier. Yeah, I've got the website in front of me and had a look at it, and I don't know if I can. Um, do, 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 share screen. Um, just so that people can see it. I don't know if you're sharing it in the chat or whatever, but obviously this is your website here and the article in question in terms of the best website builder. And obviously, you can see just at a very quick glance, there's a lot of content on there, which is always a good start. I think, I just wanted to share that with people so that they can see what I'm looking at. But I think, obviously, when you look at articles, on the keywords, you can clearly see that you're targeting best website builder, and yeah, it looks okay, just quick skim reading it, but obviously we can go back and deep dive into why, or how content might be able to be refined, if you like, because with anyone's website, including my own, are there things that can be tweaked or optimized to get a much better performance out of it? And of course, on there, that certainly is the case.
Do you think it is the right strategy just to pick up any keyword out there and just to start writing one article and uploading just one article on an empty website? Will it work? Will I have my millions out of it?
I mean, I think, if I'm advising people, I think you've got to start somewhere. And, doing one article is better than none. However, I think for me, a common mistake that I see, and if you don't mind, if I can share a slide from a presentation, I'll share screen again. Sorry, Anton in the background there getting messed around. But what I see, or one of the biggest failures I see when it comes to writing content, is that people don't understand what a topical cluster is. Now, in short, this is what a topical cluster looks like. Now, this is obviously an example where the main core topic is podcasts right in the center. And then we have subtopics or supporting articles surrounding that topic, targeting longer tail keywords such as comedy podcasts, business podcasts, and so on. And of course, internal links, which are showing Google what this full topical cluster is. And for me, when I start out, would I start out just throwing one article up? The answer is no. I've been mapping out at least a topical cluster. Just that's my own strategy. So I'd be saying, right, this is the core topic. Now, you could argue here that this core topic is unachievable. You don't have the power, you don't have the authority to dominate for that very general keyword. However, should it still form part of your topical cluster and then add all your supporting articles? For me, the answer is yes. I would want to have that rigid structure on a website. So I think it has to be mapped out, and a bit of thought and a bit of research has to go into it.
How do I research if I don't have any experience? So, for example, I'm looking at those SaaS companies, startup companies, and I just don't understand how much money I can make on it. I understand that I can invest lots of my time, lots of my resources into that. But what is the result for me? What is the outcome for me? How do I get this information prior to diving in into something where I maybe won't earn anything at all, or it will be so small that it's not worth it actually?
I mean, you do have tools available. The tools out there don't tell you how much money one of your competitors makes, unfortunately. But what we can see is the kind of search volume for anything. And obviously, the today's sponsor, SE Ranking, you've got tools like SEMrush and stuff like that as well, where you can do research and you can analyze people's rankings and see what is working for them. And I think that's a great place to start. As a small business or a SaaS tool, what is working for Duda, for example? What keywords, what are people searching for to come here to Duda? And, try and replicate that somewhat. But we need to make sure that people are actually searching for those terms, because, like you say, you could spend a lot of time and a lot of effort into trying to rank stuff that gets little to no search, which is why you have to do competitor analysis and see what's working well for them, and then go from there.
But maybe they are only ranking for those terms, but they don't get any profit from them. So I may spend lots of time of going their way and only to find out it's empty.
You can. I've been there as well. I have went after keywords that have made me little to no money. I've built websites that the average sale value is $12. Not because it was a crap niche. That was more. So I'll give you an example. I had a golf affiliate website, and in my head, as the SEO guy, I'm giving the content to my content writer, and I'm going, I need, 50 articles a month. Keep going, keep going, keep going, rank for everything to do with golf. Now, that resulted in that's a scattergun approach. Now, that resulted in me looking at the website eventually one day saying, wow, the average sale value here is $12. Now, I strategically didn't think, sometimes you have to make mistakes to understand what's going on. It cost me the same money to rank for a £5 product as it did for a £500 product. So the content strategy, the cost to me to do all of that was exactly the same. So why did I have this scattergun approach? Because I didn't do research. I didn't do any kind of industry research. I just didn't understand things properly. I just thought, throw up content and in comes all this money. And that is not always the case. And, I think, you have to look at higher ticket items. You have to look, as I say, all of the information's out there. Now, there's nothing out there that can tell you what Olesa makes from a website, but what I can see is that your golf clubs page is generating the majority of your traffic. Now, obviously, by law of averages, then I'm going to look at the price of the golf clubs and say, right, I want to go after golf clubs. So obviously, there is an element of you're just going to have to try something out and see what sticks. But I had the complete aggressive, stupid strategy of going after everything and anything relating to that niche. And I should have been a lot more refined and took a lot more time into focusing on the higher ticket items. There might not be as much search volume, but they're likely to convert better. But I think there's a lot of trial and error in any niche. When you go out there, you've just got to try some stuff, see if it works. If it doesn't, tweak it out and refine it and see where you go. But I don't think there's any one tool where I could turn around and say, that is 100% accurate and you're definitely going to make money, because there's a lot of other things that are out with our control that we have to potentially work on, and that's where testing, even your page might not convert that well because the CRO on that page is not great. So there's a lot more to it than just throwing your content out there and a whole bunch of money piling in just because you've hit the jackpot. It doesn't always work like that, and I think it's all about minor tweaks, but also trial and error and trying different products and trying to understand the kind of user behavior, and that requires a lot of time, effort, and research using a whole bunch of different tools.
And when I was doing this research for the best website builders, I started also looking for financial strips. Some people still do share them, and I found this Adam and Freud. Do you know Adam and Freud?
Mm-hmm.
Video. So where
Yeah.
he shared his Google Analytics screenshot, where it said that he earned, and he's got a similar article for best website builders as well. So his website has earned around 1 million or more than $1 million per 9 months from like articles like these ones. So that inspired me a lot. I don't know if you can believe that blindly or not, but still there are some numbers in hand, and it seems to be worth the game. And thus, the second question would be how to find these people who are sharing these financial strips. Do they share them? Now, they don't always do videos, they don't do always uh, share everything publicly, but they are sometimes maybe in some groups, in some forums. Do you have some groups for affiliate marketers where you share this kind of information within your circle and where you like get acquaintances and you get to know each other?
I actually have my own private mastermind out there where I am sharing more information. Certainly not in a Facebook group. I'm like you. I've seen guys sharing stuff. Matthew Woodward was one back in the day. Years ago, who used to share his income, and I was a big fan of Matthew, and I had an agency, and it was him that actually inspired me to go and do things, and I loved seeing the income reports. However, in this day and age, I don't know what it's like worldwide, but certainly in the UK, people do not like you to do well in life in terms of generating money. Um, I am not a fan of sharing stats or figures. You never ever see me showing a screenshot of figures, not because I just don't want to be disrespectful to people. People will say, "Oh, it's okay for you. You're doing this, or you've got money to spend in that." Or people will say, he's photoshopped that stuff." So I'm not a huge fan of sharing income reports because they can be faked as well. There's a lot of people photoshopping things, so you need to be careful what you read. But I think the people that I know in the industry who do share stuff or will happily turn around and show their analytics always is at private masterminds or things like that. They're not publicly shared in a huge way. And the argument there is, why would you? Because people will just start negative SEO in your stuff, start reverse engineering all your stuff, and all this kind of stuff. And it's a real negative, horrible industry that we work in a lot of cases. And yeah, so I think that a lot of that stuff's done in private, and I've got 60 plus people in my mastermind where we share things openly, talk about figures and stuff like that, but never publicly in a Facebook group or on YouTube or anything like that, because I just think there's a lot of negativity that comes from that, and that's not the name of the game. So, whilst it's helpful, and I loved seeing Matthew Woodward's, I think things have changed, times have changed, people have got a little bit crazier, and you don't see many people sharing stuff publicly.
Yeah, really, that's true. Also started noticing that the expenses have risen dramatically in affiliate. Previously, you could just throw your content, generate something, and it was ranking. Now you have to spend either your own time or hire writers, which are becoming more and more expensive. But that's understandable. I tried to generate that content in the wrong way, and it took me like the whole day of doing very simple things. So if I were a writer, I never write myself, but if I were a writer, I'd ask lots of money for writing this kind of thing. And you also need experience with that. So, how, and remember, I'm that guy who is trying to make my ends meet and to start this kind of affiliate business, and I don't have any money. Is there any way I can do it cheaply? I mean,
I mean,
producing content.
yeah. For me, I look a lot to South Africa for content writers. And the main reason being is the cost of living in South Africa is significantly less than in the UK or the US. However, they are still native English speakers, which is a big plus for me, who most of the websites that I'm involved in are in English. And you can get a good writer in South Africa for probably between 600 and 800 bucks a month, US dollars a month. of a good standard. So, for me, a lot of people have used Filipinos in the past. People have used Eastern Europeans. They'll use countries that do have a lower cost of living. But I think South Africa is a hidden gem because they are native English speakers. And that's something I have told many of the people that I train and stuff like that to use, and even they are doing it with massive success. So, I think for me, I don't have the golden answer where I'm going to turn around and say, there's this amazing AI tool that spits out amazing content, and you can do it for literally peanuts. That I don't believe that AI is there for that type of thing. Certainly from a long term view on it. I think AI, clearly everyone's talking about it. People are getting results with it, but are you likely to get a penalty further down the line? Who knows? I don't know the answer to that, but I have the fear inside me going, AI is not good. So I think trying to leverage countries where I had a Romanian, I still have a Romanian content writer as well, and she's done a tremendous job for me over the last 4 or 5 years. And again, she was educated in England. She speaks very good English. So, I don't pay her a UK salary. I pay her what's a good salary for people in Romania. So I think the only leverage where you can keep the quality high is to look at other countries that do have that lower cost of living.
How do you know they are not using AI tool for writing
Well, you don't. That is the other side of the question. How do you know? Is very very difficult. Now, I have previously purchased content from someone and found out it was written by AI. This person stupidly left parts on there where Jarvis didn't understand something, and it came up with something like a short code saying Jarvis didn't understand this or whatever it was. So you could see it and you're just like, fuck, you know, these people have done that to me. So yes, you've got tools out there. Huggingface.io is one of them, which you can use to to detect AI. But people are also clever enough to throw off AI, so people are not idiots. The other thing that I would do is use a tool called quillbot.com. Now, what Quillbot does is paraphrases content. It's not a spinner, it's paraphrasing. Now, if I am unsure on the content writer, or if I think or suspect that it's AI, I will run it through Quillbot and then get some human editing done to it. It's all you can do to try and make sure that stuff does get crawled and indexed. But you can never be truly sure because like anything else, we find a tool AI. There's always going to be another tool that detects it, and then you're going to have more knowledge getting out there how to throw the detection off, and it's just a constant battle. But I think you have to trust that your writer is actually doing it by hand, and if they aren't, then obviously the job is to try and fire them effectively. So it's it is what it is. You just got to lay a bit of trust in there and hope for the best, really, and make sure that you are checking and doing your own due diligence on any content you've got. And I think doing spot checks on it is what I would do.
There was a question from Larry Costenson. He's asking where you're finding those people in those countries, for example, in South Africa.
So, Larry, if you go to Gumtree in South Africa and you place an ad for a content writer, you will literally get 300 applicants for that job. So, Gumtree is the place to go for South Africans. There is no, I know if you're looking for someone in the Philippines, there is onlinejobs.ph, a marketplace for these people. There is no marketplace for the South Africans as such. However, Gumtree gets you a whole heap of people that will apply, and then from there, just make sure that you ask the right questions and do your own due diligence. And yeah, there's some good writers out there that I am currently using, so it's worked well for me. For the I think I've been probably using these guys for again 4 or 5 years, and it's working really well. I can't remember who told me to look at South Africa, but it made a lot of sense. I'm like, geez, I'm going to try it out, and I've stuck with them ever since.
Do they need to have an experience about something they are reviewing? For example, if they are reviewing Duda or they are reviewing essay ranking for a blog, for example, Craig, for your own blog. So you,
Yeah.
you have some kind of things in your blog with affiliate links, right? So if you give them this task to write about essay ranking or about Duda for affiliate programs, but they have no idea how it's functioning and they had never any experience with that, how can they write about that?
I mean, I think trying to find a writer that has experience in what you want is going to be very difficult. I think, you have to get the person to do research, but I also think that sorry, Larry, it's Gumtree, Gumtree dot whatever it is in South Africa. So yeah, Gumtree. But yeah, so do they need experience? I think it comes down to the content brief. Now, one of my favourite tools for a content brief would be Phrase. And the reason for that is obviously Phrase compares the keyword against the top ranking websites. But what Phrase also does, so obviously gives you an average word count. It gives you some subheadings and all that kind of stuff. But it also gives you statistics, FAQs, and all of that other stuff, which it's pulling from the other websites. But the reality is, unless you've sat and actually understood Duda or understood SE ranking or understood any of these other tools, can you really write a good article? And the answer is no. That someone's not doing it and they're just doing it to tick a box saying there's your article on SE ranking. It's not going to be as good as if I take the time to understand the unique selling points of SE ranking or anything like that, it's not going to come across. Mine's is going to come across a lot better. So yes, industry knowledge and experience, I think, would result in much better content. The reality is, are you going to find someone out there that has that level of experience? And the chances are no, you're not. You're going to have to give them some training or videos or me. I could think outside the box. Now for me, if I want to do a video on SE ranking, for example, I would do research. I would speak to SE ranking. I would understand why that's better for certain things. But I would also probably record the video telling the writer what I wanted to say, going deep into the more technical aspects of things, and then they can go and write it and lay it out properly. So that is an option as well. But finding good people with the experience you need, unless you're really, really lucky, that's not going to be the case. So I think that's where you're going to have to edit certain things yourself or add to things yourself, especially when it comes to Duda and SE ranking and stuff, because you need to understand what Duda is. You need to understand that Duda is not WordPress. It doesn't require the plugins. It's not prone to the hacked, the security issues that WordPress have got. And unless you're in the industry, a writer doesn't know these things, and that is the obviously the unique selling points of Duda, as well as obviously it's got it's easy to use and all your clients can be in the one server and all of this kind of stuff. So there is obviously a lot more to Duda, but that is just an example. And I think without being an SEO or understanding websites, you're not going to understand that. You're not going to say, "Oh, that's a really good unique selling point." And obviously that's what you're trying to put out there. You're trying to be different. Um, and there's someone else, Scott. It's phrase frase.io. Um, the accent is never good, so apologies. People
Great.
are like, "What? Freeze?" So phrase is the tool that I find useful for content briefs, and I think that's the most important thing, because think of it from the writer's perspective. Some poor writer's been given, go write about this. And what about it? I've no stats, I've nothing to work with, I've no FAQs, I've got nothing. So the content brief, if it's detailed, can allow that person to go and do the research. And that's where I think that tool really stands out for me.
Yeah, you have to share screenshots. You need to explain how the program works. So it means that when you are dealing with SaaS and startups, you'll need to invest lots of time, of your own time, into that to achieve the results you want. But I've also heard that bidders are producing sometimes even more leads and conversions compared to written content in SaaS, because people just share videos and it's much easier for others to see what is going on and to click and to just go and make the same. What but most people, especially those who are SEOs, they own name into what they are doing, because some of them think, I will sell this website, maybe I will maybe flip it, or I don't want to have my face on some website that is selling something. I don't want to be behind the scenes. So, what is the better way for them to do that? Still to produce lots of content, but to be not so, like, I don't know. Not everyone wants to advertise their face. It's like,
Yeah, I get it. I get it 100%. And here's the one thing I will say. If I look at my own personal website, I've got my face all over it. It's craigcampbellseo.com. It's a personal brand. Now, here is the way you need to think about this. Now, Brian Dean, who had backlinko.com, was acquired by SEMrush several months ago. Now, Backlinko is a domain name. It's a brand in its own. It's not Brian Dean. Now, everyone associates it with Brian Dean. Now, am I likely to be able to sell Craig Campbell SEO to SEMrush? Probably not, because it's got my face all over it. I've got that personal brand. Should I have? Now, I'm not saying don't use your personal, your face, or try and build a personal brand. Of course, there's a lot of good points to that. But if you're trying to resell a business, a website asset, then you need to consider whether you're building a personal brand or not. No one wants to buy Craig Campbell SEO. No one can do anything with Craig Campbell SEO. The minute I sell that on, what happens? The traffic and everything's going to diminish. So, I think if your job here is to eventually flip and sell things out, sell it out, then you need to be careful and potentially take a little bit of a back step. I'm not saying don't use yourself in videos, but Brian Dean done it very, very cleverly, which is why I'm giving you those two examples, where he can sell backlinko. SEMrush can populate that with, they could have me on there, they could have whoever they want on there. It really doesn't matter. Backlinko is the brand. And, I think the resale value is always what we're not all working hard here to earn money for here and now. Is there a resale value for when you retire or when you're fed up? You have to think long term. And for me, build a brand rather than have something with your face plastered all over it, because it's a lot harder to sell at that point.
but it's okay to have, anyway. If you build a brand, it's okay to have your face here and there in the videos, or you can make the video so that you are without face, so you can just share the screenshots and how you are just moving mouse around that, and that's about it. But however, some successful businessmen who are already affiliate known in affiliate world, they want to like, you see the growth. So as the person becomes more and more famous, he's got more and more of his face on his video. And sometimes they come to the point when there is no screenshot, there's only their face where they are explaining things, and they're moving from just affiliate business to consulting business onto something else where they can like sell that and suppose that. Also, when I was generating content for that page, which I showed you, I was thinking maybe this GPT-3 thing, they already know about who is Craig and who is Duda and what is Duda and what everyone does. But it seems that these data sets, they don't contain this brand information. So when I asked them, can you help me present Craig Campbell on my webinar at Duda, they could not do that. And one other problem with the content that you generate with AI is that you are stealing it actually from other websites or from some other points. It's just a compilation of resources or something like that. And it can bring you problems with DMCA, not only ranking, but other websites may legally try to help you with that and to penalize you in other ways. Have you had such problems in your content?
Yes, not with AI as such, because as I said, I'm not a huge fan. Have I bought an expired domain name and then used someone's content as rebuilding that out? And have I had um, potential legal issues and stuff? The answer is yes. You have to be careful in terms of using trademarked terms and photography and all of these things. Um, and one of the things that many people do when it comes to affiliate marketing is they'll use an aged or an expired domain name to give themselves a head start. So you need to be careful what you're doing, because you are opening yourself up to people being able to go to the DMCA and request that stuff's taken down and stuff like that. So you need to be careful whose toes you're treading on. And yes, I have had instances where in that kind of situation, yes, I've used someone's logo. Yes, I've used someone's photography. Yes, I have used all of their content and not changed any of it. And that brand name's still been in there, and basically been told to get it down. And it was an ongoing battle where they're like, remove the logo. So I removed the logo, changed it out. Now remove this, now remove that. So, and if I wasn't, the hosting company were actually just going to pull the website down as well. So the person had, went in from all sorts of angles to basically create problems for me. And rightly so. I shouldn't have used all of their stuff. But when you're building out a website or a PBN or whatever you want to call it, then yeah, I did run into problems. And it's no different for anyone else. When you start to play with things like that, then you might run into problems. And did I did I use someone else's content? So yes, for educational and training purposes, obviously. But I think yeah, you just have to be careful and try not get yourself into that kind of trouble. And AI, if we look at Twitter, for example, you see people doing all these kind of crazy tests and suggestions. It's nowhere near accurate. It could be wild. It could pull in the wrong stuff. It could pull in trademarked information. So these are all things to consider when you're using automation and tools like AI.
But you can just ask them, like what I did with that text which I generated. I put it, I took some articles from the top and I asked this chat GPT to summarize the text about each of the entities I was writing about, and then after summarization, I asked it to expand on these facts more, like to write a bit around them, and then I put it into, I think, on page AI and asked it to paraphrase. So something similar to your keyboard, but I
Yeah.
prefer this feature in on page AI. And so I just keep doing that, but it takes loads of time. So you keep just control C, control V, copying and pasting here and there. And by the end of this whole set of operations, you're like, I'd better write it myself. Actually, then
Oh,
do this all kinds of things. It takes such a long time. It's unbelievable. And at which point do I start to insert the affiliate links into content?
I mean, I would personally start um, straight away if you can. If you can make that happen sooner rather than later. Like you say, you've put that page up. You've not done any links. It's been crawled, potentially been indexed. Can you get traffic? Fairly quickly. It depends on the keyword. So yeah, I think there's no point in putting up content and not adding the affiliate links in. Why would you do that? So I think it's all down to the processes. And for me, when I'm doing that, my editor at the end. So what we do is we outsource parts of the content. It comes in, it's then checked and run through a few tools, optimized, and then it goes to the final editor to place it on the website. And at that point, it would be that person's job to add any affiliate links in. So that's the way my process looks. I just don't see the point in placing content and then having to go back and do it again. It literally takes that editor, I don't know, an extra minute or two to to do their bit. So, what's the point in not doing it? Is the way I see it. So, I would add them as soon as you possibly can, as the articles are going live.
Or what tool do you use for the optimization prior to giving that to that
So
guy who inserts affiliate links?
I'm a big fan of Page Optimizer Pro by Kyle Roof. Um, Not because of anything other than it's more of a habit. I know Surfer is a great tool as well. I have got Surfer as well and stuff like that, but I have used Page Optimizer Pro from the beginning. So it's more of a habit thing for me. It's just easy. And if I'm going to see anything, Surfer looks aesthetically, their interface looks a lot cleaner and a lot tidier than Page Optimizer Pro. But I just it's just habit that I use Page Optimizer Pro. So that's my tool of choice for that.
What do you think about that? Almost everyone in affiliate world, they use either Software or Page Optimizer Pro. So we are all like optimizing our articles in a similar way using the same tool. Do you think that it may bring some consequences? Maybe we should go and find something that no one uses, to have this competitive edge.
I mean, you can say that people use the same tools. The reality is, when I talk to people and look at the work they do, or I do consultancy calls, there's not that many people actually doing the job that well and actually going to the level of using Surfer or Page Optimizer Pro. When I look at most people, they want to cut costs down. They don't want to pay for these tools. So they talk about them and they say they use them. The reality is, when you analyze the work, you're like, clearly you don't. So am I concerned that what I will say here is, let's say 99% of the people out there who listen to affiliate marketing content, 99% of them, even if I was to drop every last nugget on your lap, including all my tools, you ain't going to do shit with it. You ain't going to do nothing because you're too lazy. Now, out of that 1% that do it, they're going to potentially not do it properly, or they're going to have a different, recipe in terms of doing on page. Everyone's doing things slightly different. So I don't fear that, there's masses and masses and masses of people entering these niches and all using these tools. They all talk about it, yes. They all subscribe to it, yes. Do they fucking use it on a day-to-day basis? The answer is probably no. There's only a small amount of people who are doing this stuff properly. And I'm a lazy bandit as well. That's the that's the reality of it. No one wants to be sitting there optimizing all day every day, which is why I outsource the content. I don't want to be that person, but I've got to be able to check stuff. So yeah, people are lazy, and that's the bottom line.
And when you've optimized all this kind of content, many people like where they break down. So they produce and produce content, and sometimes it's even bearable. Sometimes it's even readable, and sometimes it's even helpful because sometimes they even buy these tools and they really test them before they write about them. But what they break, like where they get stuck, is links.
Yeah.
They're usually very good at making, even technically, their website is flying, especially if it's on Duda, it's very speedy and all these kind of things. But they don't build any links because they are afraid to do that. Can you give some advice how a person who is starting out in affiliate, how they can just break that barrier and start getting some links that help them without, because most people, why they don't want, why they, like I'm telling from my experience, because first of all, I don't want to write to people I don't know asking them for links. That's the first. The second one, sometimes it costs like a very like big sum of money. You need to spend lots, and I don't have it. And thirdly, you are afraid that Google will either penalize you or just not count that link, so you'll spend your money in vain and it will not help you.
I need to be careful what I say here. I don't want to get Duda, or Duda to be seen to be doing anything dodgy when it comes to links. However, if you ask for an answer, always try my best to give an honest answer. Now, link building, no matter whether you like it or not, is part of SEO. Content and links, people will say it. It always has been, and likely always will be. Part of the overall ranking factors that Google have. Now, link building comes under many different guises. Now, like you say, you don't want to go out begging for links. Spend 10 hours a day and one guy might reply and he asks for $500. Who does that? That's not a valid use of anyone's time. Now, you've got digital PR, you've got Rise at 7 out there who absolutely crush it, and they create stories that go out in the national press and all this kind of stuff, which does really well. Now, we all can go on a podcast and get links, acquire links from being in a podcast. We can all, take part in those roundup summaries. If people ask for your opinion on affiliate marketing, you can do stuff like that. You can buy links. You can trick people into giving you links. You can exchange links with you. You might come to me, Craig, I need a link in your website. Can you give me one? Well, what have you got for me? You might say, well, I can give you a link from this over here. I've got this website, that website. You can trade links. You can buy links. There's guys out there with a ton of editorial access to all of the top websites in the world. You can buy them. Now, Google will say, oh, don't buy links. Don't do that. It's the same with anything in life. Google are not going to sit here and say, go buy links, guys. Go and manipulate the crap out of our algorithm. Of course, they're going to tell you not to buy links. Of course, they're going to look to try and penalize people who use spammy links and all these kind of things. Of course, they are. They want to clean up their own system. However, can Google detect Alessia paying me through PayPal? No, they don't have access to that level of data. So, Google wanted people to have this is a sponsored post. If you paid for a link, Who's going to do that? Why would we be cleaning up Google's thing for them to say, don't count this link, mate, we paid for it? Google are that crazy. They expect the 80% of people who have the sheep mentality not to do or that follow everything Google says. Google is a math, it's a calculation. The algorithm's based on math. You need links, you need content, you need this, you need that. There's all sorts of different things going on, but links are an important thing. You need to build up power to your domain. You need to get votes for your website from all of these other websites. And by hook or by crook, you better get them. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind. That's the name of the game. So, that is how I see it. As I say, I would like to think that I'm not, using some hooky automated link building tool to power up my website, because you're likely to just either be ignored by Google or potentially get a little penalty or whatever. So don't be that crazy. But wake up and realize that people are trading links, selling links, exchanging links, scratching each other's back for links, whatever way you want to say. You need links. You need to build up your domain authority. Google are calculating what you're doing with links as part of the rankings setup. So you've got to do it. Simple as that. And how you choose to do that, how it fits in with your moral compass, is entirely up to you. But links cost money, and there's a lot of very, very rich link vendors out there. So believe you me, it works.
So you want usually to make them look very natural, but just for stepped out for a minute, who in their sane mind would want to link to an article, best website builder listing with all these affiliate links? So do you think that maybe it is better to create, like some people propose, create some other kind of articles which link to these best and other articles, but by links not to these best reviews or articles of yours, but to some informational articles which you
Yeah,
make on your blog, and then just to um, make this page rank flow smoothly
yeah.
to the article you
Well,
need. What do you think about this strategy?
you as the SEO are in charge of where you put your internal links, or if I can reword it, where you distribute the power of your domain authority. You're in charge of that. So sometimes you strategically have to think, like you said there, who the hell wants to link to best website builders? Who cares? The reality. But if there was, a specific supporting article, like a Duda review article, you're more than likely able to get stuff like that done. So, like you're saying, you can get people to link to that article, which internally powers up the article that you're trying to promote. So that comes through internal linking. That comes down to you as the SEO. That's you understanding how and where to push the power on your website. So that is common sense. Your back's against the wall with best website builders who really, I mean, you could probably pay guys and they'll do a guest post on that, easy peasy. But if you want some of the good stuff, some of the big stuff, you have to think outside the box. And like you say, offer value up front, offering a good informational content piece is likely to get links over a page like that, which is clearly just trying to promote some best website builders. So I think you answered your own question by saying, would we, is that a thing? So yeah, it's common sense comes into play, and remember, you're in charge of what you do with the power that your website's got.
Some people believe, and many of them are very famous people and known affiliate marketers, that you cannot have only best and review content on your website because you may get penalized somehow by Google, and that you need some portion of just informational articles. We don't give you maybe this kind of monetization, but they are making your blog or your website more helpful for users in the eyes of Google, and they help you to cover the topic enough like you've mentioned topic clustering before, to grow to grow better in rankings, and to be shown for more queries, and for the best queries as well. What do you think about that?
I mean, I've seen websites that have been massively slammed um, by Google that had commercial only content. So all of the content was the top five this, or all the review related content keywords. And yeah, at the end of December, I think it was December 2020, you've seen a lot of websites plummet to the ground. Now, are Google going to reward websites that just churn out low quality commercialized content? Of course they're not. And some people will say, now I'm not sure in terms of the exact figures, but some people are saying your website should be at least 80% informational. As high as that. And I would tend to agree that, I'm not saying it has to be exactly 80%, but I think you have to offer value. There's a lot of people, the problem here is you're trying to force a sale with an affiliate website at every opportunity. People don't search for that kind of stuff all of the time. So if someone does search with the intent of finding information, how to, or what is, or any of that stuff, and you're serving a sales page, it doesn't serve the intent of the searcher. So why the hell would you try and force that down someone's throat? And if you're looking on how to use a screwdriver or something, why would you need to buy a screwdriver? Think about it. And that is what Google are penalizing. They're flushing these websites down the toilet pan because they're garbage. They're faceless websites that have no about me page on it. Nothing. We don't even know who's behind half of these websites. So again, it all got flushed down the toilet pan. And I'm not saying I agree with it, but I can see why. Google need to clean up the internet. We can't just have people crapping out a load of old salesy content. There's got to be some quality levels there, and that's what we have to do. We have to evolve, and potentially have a persona behind the website. Why are you hiding? And that obviously plays into the whole EAT thing and all that kind of stuff. And these are all things that I've been playing around with as I've spoke to you privately, trying to trigger my knowledge panel. And I don't think I have any problems in terms of EAT. I've got enough information out there that hopefully I'm not getting a penalty because I've got a faceless website. But again, I think I've seen a lot of websites that literally had, and you've got the double EAT going on. So I think the quality aspect of a website, it has to go up. And what I would say to people is treat every website that you've got like a real business. Why have you got an eggshell on there? Why is there no privacy policy? Why is there no about page? Why is there, nothing going on here? It's just low quality crap. And that is what Google, I think, are looking to squash.
But have you seen any website recovered by simply adding about page?
Nope. I think
Me neither.
once you've been slammed, now, what I'll say here, and this is just my experience, in the websites that I've seen get slammed, they haven't had a manual penalty. Nothing shows up in Search Console. We have tried to recover these websites and they don't recover. We've tried very fucking hard to get them to recover. And it's like Google's got a filter over them and you're just finished. Now, I have tried to, because what happens is redirecting from the penalised domain to a brand new domain name, the penalty does not pass. So have I seen recovery of that when you do that? Yes, I have. So there's clearly a filter over crap websites like that. And I think it's very, very hard. And when you say, have you seen someone stick an about me page up and all of a sudden everything's good? No. And that isn't what it's all about. Your website has been penalised, but I had a person who had this instance. The The website fell off a cliff. We done a 301 redirect. It started to go back to where it was. We said, do the about me and all that kind of stuff. And everything was okay for 2 or 3 months. And then it went back down again. Why? Because it was still the same old crappy commercial content. There was no informational content put on there. For the life of God, you have to put more effort in. And, that is what it's going to take to recover. So that website, the new domain name, got penalised within 2 or 3 months. So again, and it's impossible to recover. So that's where that website ended. And sadly, I'm laughing. It's not a fun story, but that's what happens. So if Google get you, and put a black line through your name, it can be difficult to shake off. To be honest.
May we have a bit more, like I have two more questions which we have not
Yeah.
touched yet, but and because it's last webinar of Duda this year, so maybe Anton will let us have a bit more, like maybe 10 minutes if you don't mind. Uh, Okay, so for example, you've done what I see often in chats, in groups, in Facebook groups, in maybe even in Twitter and everywhere, is that people say, I've done everything you said. I watched your course. I've read your blog. Not only where's my certificate, but why am I still not ranking where my millions are? So they claim to have been doing everything, but having no result. What's the common problem there?
It's the people themselves. This is the thing. You can give someone a piece of information on how to do something, and very often they twist it, they overthink it, they add their own shit onto it, they mishear things, and before you know it, that small thing that they're supposed to be doing is massive, and it's a lot of different components in that are not great. So I think for me, um, people people overcomplicate a lot of the things. If you just follow things step by step by step, SEO is not difficult. It's more you've got to tick a lot of boxes in terms of all the things that you're doing, like you guys do with the knowledge panel stuff, joining up a lot of dots. You're trying to help Google understand what the hell you're doing. It's not a complex job. It requires some attention, a bit of hard work, dedication, and stuff like that. And it's knowing what dots to join. And people get fed up very quickly. They start looking for quick shortcuts. They start looking at AI content because everyone's talking about it. And before you know it, they're actually not doing what you've trained them to do. They're going away all over the place, and they're like, oh, but Parth Subba said, and I'm only using Parth as an example there. He didn't actually say anything, but we could say Parth Subba said, AI content's the next best thing, and he's adding 10,000 pages to his website every month. And then before you know it, that person's away doing that shit, and then they come back, yeah, Craig, I followed everything you said, and then I'll be like, but where's these pages came from? Who said to do that? Oh yeah, Parth said. Well, go fucking listen to him then, and listen to everything that Parth says. Follow his. So people do not focus on one person; they focus on what I say, what Parth says, what you say, what Anton says, whoever. And before you know it, they're doing 5 different strategies all mixed into one. And that is where people go wrong. They don't just sit down and focus on the one individual. And it's, I'm not saying anyone's right or wrong or whatever, but, you have to follow one person's or a handful of people's strategies. And there's just that many people out there that are throwing different, there's so many tools, so many tricks, so many different things going on in the world of SEO that it just ends up a big mess because there's so many moving parts to SEO, whether it be links, whether it be content, whether it be your knowledge panel stuff, whether it be your site speed, whether it be your on page and all this kind of stuff. There's so many moving parts and so much misinformation or dated information being released out there. or picked up, not necessarily released by the people that are delivering the information, but picked up in a weird way by by the people listening, and they twist it, and before you know it, that's when all hell breaks loose. So it's yeah, that's my opinion on it.
So, I've also noticed that sometimes it's just the lack of very, very basic stuff that is underneath each problem. For example, in that article I created, I tried to create it in the wrong way to make all the errors people usually make. And I found it actually much harder than to create it in a normal way because it takes more time for me. So, for example, there I don't have normal talk, I don't have all these kinds of internal links. I don't have normal structure of the article. I don't expand on everything. I don't have this comparison uh, one by one and with bullets near to them and it's in a nicely looking table and all the. I don't have schema. I don't have anything, and usually that's what it is lacking for people. So mostly they're lacking very very basic things in content and links. That's what is like very very.
But to
But
re-emphasize,
if
sorry, carry on. Sorry, carry on.
Oh, it's okay. But what helps you? What I found out, what helps you to prevent of making these very basic errors, which are kind of may seem even stupid, is when you are really in some group with other people who can have a look sometimes at your website, who are not your competitors. So, for example, like your group, how do people find your group, by the way?
So you go to my website, you'll see the top right hand corner, it will say Mastermind. Just click on that and you can sign up. There is a small monthly fee for it just to get rid of the people who don't take it seriously. But yeah, it's low cost and we talk, we bounce ideas around. We can say, Craig, or not me, but collectively as a group, can we have a look at this website? Because I've tried this, I've tried this, I've tried this. And sometimes you just need a second set of eyes to look at something, and then you're like, geez, why didn't I think of that? And it might just be a very basic thing, like you say. I don't think a lot of people are doing the basics properly. They're doing everything else and missing out on the bare basics. And sometimes you need other people in the industry to say to you, that's where you're going wrong. You might be amazing technically and forward thinking and thinking outside the box, but are you doing the basics right? And sadly, they're not. And we all make mistakes. We all try stuff, and like I say, even with you, when I'm talking about the knowledge panel stuff before, I've got all sorts of knowledge panels out there. I've blown them all up. I blow shit up. I'm an impulsive guy. I take a bit of information and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then I have to go back crawling to Jason. Oh, Jason, help me. I don't know what I've done. Jason's like, Craig, what the hell are you doing? There's so again, a small bit of information, and I don't want to be seen to be critical, but that's what we guys do, or girls and everything else, is we're impulsive. I'll listen to a snippet of what he says and I think I know better, and I run out there two-footed into everything and blow everything up. Knowledge panels taken down left, right, and centre. It's part of the job, part of the journey. But if I had just listened a little bit better, I would have probably saved myself a lot of money and a lot of time and effort uh, when doing that one little component. And it's the same with everything else. You just jump in and all hell breaks loose and everything blows up. And that's what the game is, sadly. But it's fun.
But yeah, it's fun, and you won't have all these stories. You won't be an actor. You won't be having a movie role and all these kind of things. You won't be telling these wonderful stories when you are speaking up and all these kind of things. So sometimes there is a very nice to have, maybe.
Yeah, it's you learn from it, and as I say, there's or as you say, there's some fun stories alongside it as well. So, but the big thing here is just try stuff as well. Just don't be scared to attack things, and just I'm not a knowledge panel expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I was quite happy to pull my sleeves up and give it a go, and and break it all. But so that I think that attitude of just doing stuff helps you along the way as well. You just got to take action.
If there was one wish for the listeners here of your webinar that you could give people that you would know that it will become true and real, what would you wish them?
One wish for the viewers,
Yes.
um, that hopefully will come true. Um, I hope that you all have a very Merry Christmas, and set good goals for next year, and start to take action. Would be what I wish people would do, and hopefully have success with it. That there's plenty of money out there to earn from affiliate, or SaaS, whatever. It really doesn't matter. There's a lot of money out there, and I hope the people that do take action get their fair share of it. So, um, yeah, good luck with it.
Okay, I'm also wishing everyone who is listening to this affiliate marketing webinar to become so rich that you won't know what to do with your money, and come back here in the comments when you are rich and tell that it happened. Yeah, I've listened to Craig, I've made everything you've said, and now I'm very rich. Thank you. And we'll be very happy for that. So thank you everyone who joined us today. We have a bit more of time, like ahead of time. So I think we can um, already finish. You can find Craig everywhere on most social media. I have found Craig on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on Facebook, and on his own website. And if you're interested in that group he was talking about, just contact him. I don't know if he has any face control or not, but I think that um, it goes smoothly with Craig. Anyways, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and yeah, hope you have a good Christmas.
Thank you.